Picture this. You are sitting on your couch. It's 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are completely safe, wrapped in a blanket, eating a snack. Suddenly, your phone screen lights up. It's a notification, an email from your boss, and the subject line just says, "Quick chat tomorrow." Instantly, your stomach drops, your heart rate spikes, your palms get a little sweaty, and your breathing gets shallow. You are completely paralyzed by a surge of dread. Why? You're on a couch. There is zero physical danger, but your body is reacting exactly the same way it would if a hungry saber-toothed tiger just crashed through your living room window. Welcome to the human brain. It is the most complex, remarkable structure in the known universe, and it is also incredibly, hilariously stupid when it comes to living in the modern world. If you constantly feel anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed by things that aren't actually life-threatening, I have some good news for you. You aren't broken. You aren't defective. In fact, your brain is doing exactly what it was programmed to do. It's just that you are running modern 21st century software on hardware that hasn't had a major update in about 300,000 years. Today, we are going to look at why your brain thinks everything is a tiger, why your ancestors passed down their panic attacks to you, and why the very thing that makes you miserable today is the exact reason your species didn't go extinct. Let's rewind the clock, way back. Before iPhones, before agriculture, before cities. For roughly 99% of human history, we were hunter-gatherers. The world was brutally simple, but it was also incredibly dangerous. Imagine two early humans walking through the tall grass of the African savanna. Let's call them Oog and Grog. Suddenly, the grass rustles. Oog is an optimist. He's chill. He thinks, "Oh, it's probably just the wind. Beautiful day, isn't it?" He stays relaxed. Grog, on the other hand, is a paranoid mess. The second he hears the rustle, his brain assumes the worst. He assumes it's a predator. His body instantly floods with adrenaline and cortisol. His heart pumps blood to his legs. His digestion shuts down. His pupils dilate. And he sprints up the nearest tree before he even consciously processes what's happening. Now, let's say it was just the wind. Oog laughs. Grog looks like an idiot. But what if it wasn't the wind? What if it was a leopard? Oog, the relaxed, optimistic guy, gets eaten. Grog, the paranoid, anxious guy, lives to see another day. Grog finds a mate, and he passes his paranoid, anxious genes down to his children. Evolution doesn't care if you are happy. It doesn't care if you feel at peace. Evolution only cares about one thing: keeping you alive long enough to reproduce. In the brutal environment of early human history, anxiety was a superpower. It was the ultimate survival mechanism. Evolutionary biologists call this the smoke detector principle. Think about the smoke detector in your kitchen. It is incredibly annoying when it goes off because you burned a piece of toast. It feels like a glitch, but it's designed that way on purpose. A smoke detector is engineered to be overly sensitive because the cost of a false alarm, a little annoyance and some ringing ears, is infinitely lower than the cost of missing a real fire and burning the house down. Your brain works exactly the same way. The cost of a false alarm, getting a panic attack over an email, is low from an evolutionary standpoint, but the cost of missing a real threat is death. So, evolution wired us to be hypervigilant. We are the descendants of the most nervous, paranoid, stressed-out apes that ever lived. The chill ones didn't make it, but here is where the problem starts: the Great Mismatch. For hundreds of thousands of years, the human stress response was perfect for the environment. The threats we faced were acute. That means they were intense, physical, and over very quickly. You see a predator, you run. 3 minutes later, you are either safe or you are lunch. Either way, the stress is over. Once you were safe, your nervous system would reset. Your cortisol levels would drop, and you would go back to a resting state. But then, about 10,000 years ago, we invented agriculture. Then we built cities, invented money, created complex social hierarchies, and eventually, the internet. In the grand timeline of human evolution, 10,000 years is basically a blink of an eye. Our environment changed at a blistering, exponential rate, but our biology stayed exactly the same. We took a brain built for the savannah and dropped it into a modern office building. And your brain has absolutely no idea what to do with it. Today, the threats we face are rarely physical, and they are rarely over in 3 minutes. Instead, our threats are abstract and chronic. It's a looming mortgage payment. It's inflation. It's a confusing text from your partner. It's the constant, low-level dread of the daily news cycle. Your amygdala, the tiny almond-shaped alarm bell in your brain, cannot tell the difference between a physical threat to your life and a psychological threat to your ego. To your ancient brain, a threat is a threat. So, when you think about your taxes, your brain hits the alarm. It pumps you full of adrenaline and cortisol, preparing you to either fight your taxes or run away from your taxes. But you can't punch a tax form. You can't sprint away from a deadline. You just have to sit there, at your desk, stewing in a toxic soup of stress hormones with nowhere for that physical energy to go. This chronic stress is literally killing us. Our bodies were not designed to be in fight or flight mode for weeks or months at a time. It ruins our sleep, destroys our digestion, weakens our immune system, and causes chronic inflammation. We are using an emergency survival system as a daily operating system, and it is burning out the engine. Let's take this a step further and look at one of the most common forms of modern suffering: social anxiety. Why do we care so much about what other people think of us? Why does the idea of speaking in public or saying something embarrassing at a party make us want to melt into the floor? Once again, blame your ancestors. In the ancient world, humans lived in small tribes of maybe 50 to 150 people. You literally could not survive on your own. If you were cast out of the tribe, you were dead. You would freeze, starve, or get eaten. Because of this, evolution hardwired us to be terrified of social rejection. Being well-liked by your tribe wasn't just good for your self-esteem. It was a matter of life and death. If the tribe thought you were weird, useless, or offensive, they would kick you out. Fast forward to today. You post a photo on Instagram and it only gets 3 likes. Or you wave at someone across the street and they don't wave back. Logically, your modern, rational brain knows this doesn't matter. You know you aren't going to starve to death because a stranger on the internet didn't validate you. But your ancient brain doesn't know that. Your ancient brain sees social rejection and screams, "The tribe is abandoning us. We are going to die in the wilderness." This is why public speaking is consistently ranked as people's #1 fear, sometimes even above death. Standing in front of a group of staring eyes triggered the exact same neural pathways in our ancestors as being surrounded by a pack of wolves. Your body prepares to die. And society today exploits this biological bug perfectly. Social media is basically a giant machine designed to constantly trigger your tribal rejection fears. We are exposed to the opinions, judgments, and idealized lives of thousands of people every single day. Our brains were built to handle the social dynamics of 50 people in a cave, not millions of people on a glowing rectangle. So, where does that leave us? Are we just doomed to be miserable, stressed out meat sacks trapped in a modern world we weren't built for? Well, yes and no. The bad news is, you can't rewire millions of years of evolution. You are always going to have a brain that looks for danger. You are always going to have a negativity bias. That's another fun feature, by the way. Our brains are Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. Remembering the location of a delicious berry bush was nice, but remembering the location of the tiger cave kept you alive. So, your brain is built to obsess over the one bad thing that happened today, completely ignoring the 99 good things. But the good news is, you have something that early humans didn't really use to its full potential: the prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, the logical, rational, thinking part. While you can't stop your amygdala from ringing the alarm, you can use your prefrontal cortex to check the smoke detector and realize there is no fire. When you feel that wave of anxiety hitting you over an email, or a bill, or an awkward social interaction, the worst thing you can do is judge yourself for it. Don't think, "Why am I so weak? Why am I overreacting?" Instead, recognize it for what it is. It's an evolutionary echo. It is a biological phantom. You can literally tell yourself, "Oh, my heart is racing because my ancient brain thinks this spreadsheet is a leopard. Thanks for trying to keep me alive, brain, but we are actually totally safe." You can also hack your own nervous system. Because your brain expects physical action when it's stressed, giving it physical action helps close the loop. This is why going for a run, doing jumping jacks, or literally just shaking your limbs when you are stressed actually works. It tricks your brain into thinking, "Ah, good. We ran away from the tiger. We survived." Then, it shuts down the cortisol production. Deep, slow breathing works the same way. In nature, you only breathe slowly and deeply from your belly when you are completely safe. By forcing yourself to take deep breaths, you are basically sending a biological telegram from your lungs to your brain, saying, "The coast is clear. Stand down." We live in the safest, most comfortable, most technologically advanced time in human history. We have wiped out diseases, built climate-controlled boxes to live in, and we can get any food on Earth delivered to our doors. Yet, we are arguably the most stressed-out generation to ever walk the Earth. It's the great irony of human existence. We built a world so safe and so removed from nature that our survival instincts have nothing real to fight anymore. So, they fight everything. So the next time you feel completely overwhelmed by a minor inconvenience, give yourself a little grace. You are carrying the weight of 1,000,000 years of survival in your head. Your anxiety isn't a sign of weakness. It's a wildly outdated defense system that worked so perfectly, it kept your ancestors alive long enough to make you. You just need to remind it, every once in a while, that the tiger isn't real anymore.